What went wrong today? City caught in possession a lot. The midfield defensively awful, no legs, and in the end, an absolute beatdown. What did Pep get so wrong today?
Well, first and foremost, credit to Arsenal. I got to say that. I also have to say credit to former assistant manager. Talk about the student. He put on a masterclass today. Mikel Arteta put on a masterclass today. Mikel Arteta also, and shout out to the Cronkies for them investing in this manager, making him the second highest paid manager. It's for results like these. It's for the belief in a manager like this to be able to get a result against Manchester City for Pete winners. He got a lot right today. Mikel got a lot right today. And I have to point out that a lot of players cost us on the City end. It was talked about the first error from Akanji. It was also, maybe you could also point out Ortega. Listen, I get called a gaslighter all the time. There's a difference between Ortega and Ederson, and it is clear. Distribution is so key to how teams want to press us and defend against us. And he was missed today. Ortega, a few errors. Stones should close out a few times. But I have to give credit to Arsenal. And what we got wrong is kind of like the same consistent errors and problems that we've had throughout this entire season. For when you guys were pointing out my 1-12 or 1-13 wins, we cannot play an entire 90 at the pace that's required to really be dominant. And I had concerns going into this game because I said the midfield was going to be a huge concern. When you got runners like Rice, when you had that shift that Odegaard put in, and at the same time, this is a Partey that I think every Arsenal fan want to see on the regular, and he played exceptionally well. It's not our season, Terry. That's it. It's not our season. This performance, let me say this real quick. This performance reminded me of the battering that we gave United in 11. Like the changing, not necessarily changing of the guard, but the momentum or maybe the step forward that's required of a club to be like, you know what, we put a stamp on it. We're moving on. When we did the 6-1 versus United, every City fan, even from a club standpoint, we're like, oh, we're about it. We deserve to be here. And I think it should be that next step for Arsenal, because I think that's the thing that's been missing for them over some of the previous years in terms of challenge.
The slight difference in that is that season where you beat us 6-1, you only beat us to the league title on goal difference. So Man United and Fergie didn't, as you were on the up and up, we didn't crumble away and play this pitifully. We lost literally the Aguero goal is what separated.
You guys did bottle an 8 points lead that season, though. Towards the end,
don't get too defensive. Don't get too defensive in terms of.
No. Hang on. Just all slow down a minute. Yes, I understand. Did we have an 8-point lead? Was it 8 points?
Yeah. I remember it was 8 because when we beat City, it became 5. You drew 2 games, and then you played City, and you had to win that game. City had to win that game.
Okay, but
to go top, and they beat you guys.
Okay, they deserve to win the league. My point is, Man United that season didn't go 1 win in 13 and were sitting sort of 4th or 5th in the league. So I get your point. You think it's a change in the guard, but let's not compare how bad this City team is to a team that missed out on winning a league title on goal difference. I just don't think that's a comparison.
No, the comparison is the momentum and belief that comes after defeating the champions like we did. Right, okay. And that's the context I was bringing in. It wasn't to be like, oh, United of that time and how poor City are.
I understand that, but the reason I'm bringing it up is nothing to do with my team per se. And it's because
the champion.
If you let me finish, you'll understand what I mean. The reason why I bring that up and think it's a bad comparison is because what Pep hasn't done this season is find a solution. The fact that you can't play for 90 minutes. Okay, Rodri's out injured. KDB, you'd say, is past his absolute. Somebody needs to mute their mic, please. Somebody is past their best. KDB is past his best as an example. But Foden's still in his pomp. If we actually go through your team today as an example, I'm going to get it up on the screen in front of me, right? So if we actually look at this here, this is why I think you as an individual and City fans are too respectful here to Pep. So Nunes in his pomp, Akanji in his pomp. Stones has got injury problems, so fair enough. Guardiola is young still, okay? Savio, young. You've got Silva, cool. You can put him maybe past his best. I'll accept that. Foden, young. Mamouche, young and just bought him. Haaland in his pomp. The vast majority of your starting lineup is still in its pomp. On the bench today, you have Legs, you have McAtee, you have Reese, okay? You have Rico Lewis, you have O'Reilly. You got 4 young players on there. I've been talking about this since November with City fans, and they want to ignore the conversation, and the media helps you by ignoring it as well. You can't play high intensity for 90 minutes. That cannot just be because KDB's a year older and because Gundogan's there and because Rodri's injured. You have young players on your bench. You have an academy that is being lauded. Yesterday, I saw City fans everywhere. Oh, we own Manchester. We just smashed up United 4-0 at the academy level. You big up your academy 1 minute, but you won't give them the chance the next. You say you can't last 90 minutes in a football match. Well, that's because your manager is not approaching these games correctly. And when people, he is one of the greatest of all time, but the lack of scrutiny that you put upon Pep Guardiola, personally, I think it's embarrassing. It's absolutely, it's like sitting on the chair in the corner of your room, if you get what I'm saying.
You got to take a touch, pass the ball around. You're all over the place. I was talking about the 6-1 versus United and the momentum that could be taken on after defeating the champions. And now you're trying to break down the differences between United then and City now and my squad.
I said it's nothing to do. You brought that comparison up. I'm saying this to you now. Yes, Arsenal will become a better team and they beat you today. I'm trying to get back to why City is so bad and the lack of scrutiny upon Pep Guardiola. Because I keep hearing he's tried everything and nothing works. Then I hear we just can't run around for 90 minutes. You got 3 or 4 young players on your bench. He doesn't give them game time. He doesn't start them. It's ridiculous.
It's actually.
I don't want to be a Man City sympathizer, but I also feel with Pep Guardiola, I feel quite sorry for him in the sense of there's no one in that team that's got any defensive bone in the midfield. I mean, you're asking. If you ask,
no, don't do that, bro. No one cares when we ain't got a striker.
Let me make my point, but hold on, let me make my point because you're saying, go on,
man, don't do that, man.
Let's break down that Man City midfield, right? Is Kovacic ever been a CDM or a player that's astounding at defending? No, he's not. Is Bernardo Silva that? No. Is James McAtee that? No. Right? I would have the same logic I'd put to my own manager, right? If we had a midfield of Martin Odegaard, if we had Fabio Vieira, and we had another centre midfielder who's not astute at defending, I would bring out the same defense. I'm just looking at objectively.
But Nathan, you know why you're wrong? Because Pep himself has come out a couple of weeks ago. He himself has come out and said the board wanted him to sign players. They were willing to go to the market and sign, and he said no. So that is on him. He saw last season when they missed Rodri in 4 or 5 games, they lost almost every one of them. So you should obviously anticipate that there could be a chance where we get an injury, or there could be a chance where he gets suspended or he misses a couple of games, and we struggled without him last season. I think he's the greatest of all time, but he's
no one will sit there. No one will sit there and say Arteta hasn't got a striker. No one will sit there and say for us and defend Arteta and go, oh, but he hasn't got the striker to score goals. Yeah, rightly so. But we can't go. He ain't got the DM, yeah. Because as people will say to us, why is he signed the striker?
Exactly.
Why is he signed the DM?
Exactly. Right now,
they had a DM, but they offloaded Calvin Phillips.
Matt, 1 second. Right now, there are people, especially rivals and pundits. I think Amorim, he's got to change his system. He's got to do something different to get more wins. The man hasn't had a single player bought for him yet. But yet, when it comes to Pep, he hasn't got many defensive-minded players. So it's okay for his midfield to get run through. It's okay that he doesn't adapt. It's okay that they run out of legs because he's Pep Guardiola. No other manager in the league is afforded that lack of criticism. And some will say, got credit in the bank.
Exactly.
Well, no, but that's bullshit. He's the best. No, he's the best. He's the best. And he should be scrutinized as the best.
But Terry, don't you think this is where it gets tribal, though? Where this is where we're all jumping on each other to banter each other? Because when I look at Amorim... but I'm saying to you, I would use the same defense for Amorim. I would say he hasn't had. Yes, he's unlucky. Yes, he hasn't got the players he needs within that squad to play the football he wants to play. So therefore, with a few more signings, I would wait and back him with more signings before getting.
I totally agree, but the thing is, but this isn't tribal though, because I sit here and I've defended, and V can sit there with a little smirk on his face, but I've sat here multiple times and defended Pep when people call him a checkbook manager. He only works at the big clubs. He can only do it with money. I defend him on all those things. This is nothing to do with being tribal. What I don't like is the lack of scrutiny towards Pep Guardiola. I think it's embarrassing that it's very rarely any blame is put upon him. I get your point. McAtee's not a CDM, but they run out of legs. put your youngsters that have legs in the team, be a little bit more pragmatic in your approach, and play to your means for a period of time. The fact he isn't doing it and he doesn't get scrutinized, I think is ridiculous personally.
So here's the point. I think you guys aren't happy with the volume of scrutiny. He has been scrutinized. He has been questioned, whether it's the players that he's chosen or whether it's when he's made the subs. You guys just don't like that not enough City fans are loud about it. We're not like you guys. We don't cry and whine like you guys. We don't call out for the manager to be kicked out as soon as there's one or a few errors.
But now you're exaggerating. No one has sat here and said he should ask the manager to be sacked. Now what you have now done is taken a very key point about criticism and gone, you just want us to say Pep out. No one said that. You're lying.
No, I'm saying that we don't.
You're lying. Why would you lie?
You're accusing me of lying.
You did lie. No one said that.
I exaggerated, which we all do on this panel.
Which
and we don't call each other liars when we all exaggerate a point. Are we doing that now?
Okay. Hang on. I'll rephrase. Why did you exaggerate and not tell the truth?
Because we all do it on the panel. That's how you clip us all up. Yes, we do. So
the panel come on here and don't tell the people come on here and exaggerate all their points and don't tell the truth. That's nonsense. No one does that.
Points. Okay, let's not get sidetracked because we all exaggerate points on here. You're gonna have someone come on panel, and then you're gonna hear an exaggeration. I'm gonna expect you to call them liars as well. My point is,
I have done before.
Okay, and you'll do it again when someone comes off mute and then exaggerates. My point today is we aren't scrutinizing Pep like a madness, which is pretty customary by some of the rivals. I'll say this, and I'll say it loud and clear. Pep did make a mistake today. Pep has made mistakes throughout this entire season. There's also been players that have made mistakes while Pep has also made a mistake within the game. So am I going to be like, oh, it's Pep's mistake for starting Akanji? Well, we don't have many defensive choices. And Akanji made an error. I'm putting that on Akanji to go down 1-0. And at the same time, when I'm seeing some questionable passes from Ortega, I'm like, well, Pep, what are you going to do? Start Carson? Ederson wasn't available today.
Yeah.
So this is the balance.
Yes. Can I ask you a question, please? You said he made a mistake. He said he made a mistake today. What mistake did he make? Just so I can make sure I understand what you mean. What did he do wrong, the manager?
Personally, I think he made a mistake with who he decided to make his main 11. And again, with the subs that he made, bringing on KDB, with the experience in this, it's not a derby, but this rivalry that's been established, I would have preferred to have KDB there, even if he's only going to give me 50 minutes. I'd rather start with experience and, to your point, bring on younger legs as the game has kind of flowed. Also,
I agree with Vater. Let me just say one thing. You need to understand, Vater, life is about perspective. Terry is emotionally invested in this Pep thing because Pep and Ferguson is a conversation, so he has to hyper-criticize everything. The reality of the situation is, yes, Pep does have credit in the bank. There's a reason why we aren't going at him heavy. It's because he's won 4 league titles in a row, a treble, won them their first Champions League ever.
I know that.
And you already know, I've insulted Pep plenty of times before. I've called him a checkbook manager. I've just, I've said a whole lot of stuff about him. But when it comes to this conversation, yes, he does deserve credit in the bank because as many mistakes as he's made this season and as many errors as he has made this season, and he has made plenty of errors, no one should ask for him, and I'm making this exaggerated point, no one should ask for him to get sacked.
You liar!
No one should criticize him like crazy because he did deliver on a consistent basis regularly for Man City. He's won four in a row. And he's won 6 titles in 7 years. So if he does have a bad season, like he did in 2019, 2020, as an example, he's allowed to have a bad season. It's okay because he has so much. It's not just credit in the bank. He's the bank itself. So he's allowed to have these bad moments.
Do you know what I would say to that, Sam? Absolutely. I wouldn't ever call for him to be sacked at this point. In fact, I've been on record on multiple times in their terrible run of 1 win in 13 of saying he'll turn this around. He'll get him back for challenging next year. That shouldn't be the conversation. What I am talking about is, and I'm speaking about people that come on these shows. I've heard multiple City fans say there's nothing more he could do. He can't change the approach. His hands are tied. That's nothing to do with credit in the bank. Where you're correct is exaggerating it to sack him. He's a fraud. Those words will never come out of my mouth. Again, calling him a fraud. I'd never say that. That's not the way I operate. But I think it's ridiculous when I hear City fans or rivals go, well, what can he do? What can he do? His hands are tied. I think that's bullshit. I think that's absolute BS. And I'm talking about that type of comment, not the exaggerated, he should be sacked, because that would get shut. If anyone come on here and said that, I would call them stupid and I'd shut them down. I would defend Man City from that point. But there is more that he can do. They run out of legs. They've got loads of young players. They're not using them. That's an option that they have, and they don't tend to do it.